Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining today. My name is Derek Major. I'm with Eligio. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about not-for-profit CRM. And we're going to be comparing against three different CRMs today. Today is kind of a kickoff to the next few weeks. We're going to be talking about each individual CRM in the coming weeks. Today is more of an overview. What I want to do is kind of give you some ideas around what not-for-profits are doing today and what some of our clients are doing as well for their CRM systems. As you'll see throughout the rest of this presentation today, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the cool things that people are doing with their CRMs that have nothing to do with sales, but also have everything to do with, in the world of not-for-profit sales, being donation management, and collecting that information and what to do with that information and relationship building and all that too. So I'm going to go through a little bit of that. We'll do a little bit of a demo as well on some of the systems that we're looking at today. They'll be very high level, not entirely customized. That's what we're going to be doing in the coming sessions over the next few weeks. Today is really to give you a good overview and understanding of where things are at there. So three kind of objectives I have for today is to discuss what our clients are doing. We work with a number of not-for-profits, and we help them not only pick which CRM to go with, but to actually pick the right CRM. There are a lot of options out there. I'm sure if you're looking for a CRM, you're probably a little inundated with the options that are available to you. What is the difference? What's the longevity of the product? What's the support like? What kind of partner network is available to support the product? There's probably a lot of questions that you're starting to ask yourself as you go down this path. So I'm going to do a bit of a short demo as well. I'm going to walk through Monday.com, show you how we've configured that to work with different use cases in the not-for-profit sector, SugarCRM as well in Zendesk. Today, I'm going to really just focus more so on the donor management side and contact management, but I'll talk a little bit about some of the use cases here in a few seconds. And then we're going to talk a little about the benefits. Again, we're comparing three CRMs today. What are the differences? What's Monday got over Sugar have over Zendesk? Why would you pick one over the other? Each has strengths and each has a different proposition that makes sense for a business and as well as an organization to choose it. So we're going to go through a little bit of what that kind of looks like on a very high level too. So what do our clients do today? There's lots of things that we're seeing clients do. It's not necessarily on donor management, to be quite honest. Customers typically come to us because they're looking for a solution to something they're doing in order to meet the objectives of their organization. So we have organizations that work with new immigrants into Canada. They have a database where they're managing the people coming into that database, and then also managing relationships with those people in the database. So they're basically like connectors. So they need the CRM to actually allow them to illustrate what a relationship looks like with people with others. So capturing information such as interests, what's their birthday, other particulars that might be of interest to help them actually do good matching between people inside of a database. Others use it for event management. So they'll work with their partners in the communities who offer different events, and they'll actually use the CRM to actually create placeholders for the events, but allow people to sign up for them. So you might be thinking, well, why can't you use something like Eventbrite or whatnot? And a lot of these organizations do, but what they do is they actually integrate it into the CRM. And by doing that, they have all the data from all of the events, not just one-offs here and there. And products like Eventbrite do give you some decent analytics, but what you can actually do by marrying that with the CRM is you can actually manage that relationship for over the long term. So how many people that you've invited to events in the past, when did they attend during those occurrences? Or maybe they didn't attend at all, or maybe you have someone that always attends these events, so they're kind of more higher value for you. So it's a really good way to track events with other third-party tools, but also manage the relationships around them. Another thing that we're seeing a big trend in right now is custom portals. So we have a lot of organizations that are looking at ways to not only have the CRM system, but to have a portal that their customers, their constituents, they can actually go to and actually access. So we have a couple of organizations that actually do a certification process, and both of them are implementing or have implemented portals that allow their clients to actually go to these portals, create accounts, track information, track their certifications, and all that data is synchronized back into the CRM. So the actual organization uses the CRM to facilitate all the communication, all the activity, all the relationship management inside of the CRM, whereas the portal is designed for their clients to actually go in and actually use the system. So that's something that's happening quite a bit. We have lots of conversations about portals now, especially as everyone's moved online more and more. They're looking for ways that they can interact with their clients a lot better. Donor management, I think this is a given. Although, like I said at the outset, we don't see a lot of that. There are a lot of purpose-built systems for that. However, as you're going to see today on some of the demos, there's no reason you cannot use your CRM to do it. Out of the box, all three of these products don't offer a very specific donor management tool, but they do have templates that are available that can be applied quite easily into the system, especially if you have greater ambitions with the system and in technology in general. Maybe that donor management tool you've always used for a number of years now is great at facilitating that, but most of that can be replicated in the CRM. But then if it's replicated in the CRM, it gets access to a greater ecosystem of functionality that you didn't have before. So that's kind of another benefit to looking at a CRM side of things. And we talk about relationships, donors and funders. Who are your highest donating donors within your space, the people that you interact with, the funders that you have, the larger funders where you actually have goals and commitments and objectives you need to meet. Like, do you want to track that criteria inside of the system to make sure you're meeting those objectives every year? And as I kind of alluded to earlier, facilitating operational functionality. So that's basically talking about taking something that you do today, whether it's paper-based, maybe if it's, like, as I mentioned, certification process, we've had organizations that would send out tons of spreadsheets to get their clients to fill out these forms, send them back. And again, someone's got to weed through all of these spreadsheets when now they're using a portal to operationalize all of that process. So now it's all digital. So those are some examples where you can actually take existing processes you have today and move that into more digital space. I already talked about custom portals, but just kind of give you a higher level here with the diagram. Portals on the outside, the portal connects into the CRM. And CRM is then also attached into other systems you might have, like your accounting systems and your marketing systems as well. So this is a pretty common approach. I mean, this is very high level, very simplistic, but that's essentially what we're seeing is this kind of setup that's happening now. So let's talk a little bit about each of the products here. I'm gonna walk through each of these, and then I'm gonna flip over into the demos, and I'll go Zendesk Monday, then Sugar lastly. So Zendesk. So why do people pick Zendesk in the nonprofit space? Well, they have one of the highest rated mobile apps. So if you're looking for something where your team is out in the field, maybe they're doing door to door, they're doing a lot of different things, non-COVID times, of course, door to door, and they're meeting with people on a regular basis outside of the office, outside of being in front of a computer. Zendesk has probably one of the best mobile apps out there. There's less customization for Zendesk. What you get is what you see for the most part. You can create some custom fields and set up some certain functionality around it, but for the most part, what you see is what you get. So you're up and running a lot quicker. It also has easy integrations into other Zendesk apps. So if you want to introduce like a chat function on your website or into an app, or you want to have support desk where you're actually servicing people as part of your organization, Zendesk really has a nice ecosystem of apps depending on the purpose of what you need. So there's a lot of benefits in that regard. Monday.com. This is probably the most flexible product that we work with. Monday.com is growing like crazy, and they're adding new features all the time, and it's become a very popular platform for not-for-profits right now. And the reason why, it's highly flexible. Building blocks it's like building Lego. So you can take building pieces and you can kind of build up things just like that. It's easy to use, and users actually can learn it quite quickly. It's very intuitive, and people just find it's a lot friendlier than your typical CRM that's out there. It's also a lower entry cost. based on the platform and compared to, say, a Zendesk or a Sugar. And it's also great for collaboration. So you don't just need to look at Monday.com as a CRM system. It can be more than just a CRM. It can be a CRM system. It can be a collaboration tool, a project management tool. It can do a lot of different things. But of course, we'll talk more about on the donor management side with that. The Sugar CRM. So this is probably the most popular option for our clients right now. The reason why it's highly customizable. It's a very interactive tool that we can build on, and it plays really nicely, with the portal concepts and all that. So we're doing a lot of that stuff on there. Open source code base. So for those that have some data residency issues or concerns, Sugar does offer data residency in Canada, and you can also go on your own servers and on-premise if that's something you chose to do. And it has a higher number of integrations. So their ecosystem's a lot more built out than the other products right now. So if you're looking to hook into something like a DocuSign, it's quite easy to do that. If you're looking to hook into any kind of MailChimp or other marketing tools, it's really easy to do that with SugarCRM. So I'll just keep an eye on things here. Oh, sorry, I'm jumping ahead here. So I'm going to flip over to a demo now of the 3 different products. So let me just close this out. And I see a hello in the chat. Thanks for joining today. And if you guys did miss any of this, oh, the lights in my office just went out. If you did miss any of the session today, certainly we'll have a video recording of this too. So stay tuned on that. So like I said, we're going to jump into 3 products here. I'm going to talk about Zendesk, then we'll go to Monday, then we'll go to Sugar. These are not highly customized. It did some changes here and there just to kind of illustrate some possibilities. But we're going to start on the simplest all the way down to the more complex. So this is Zendesk Sell. Zendesk Sell is by nature a sales tool. Most CRMs are. But with that said, if your sole focus is raising dollars, Zendesk is a fantastic tool for that. It is built for people selling, whether it's selling, fundraising, whatever it might be. This is kind of a dashboard. Dashboard is very configurable with different widgets. The idea is that you can have this right in front of the people that are marketing or calling or whatnot, right in front of them. Across the top, like I said, when you look at the other systems in a second here, this is a lot simpler to look at. There's not a ton of options. That's usually not a bad thing. One of the biggest challenges for people adopting CRM is that there is so much. If you've ever looked at Salesforce, that can be a little intimidating for some people. Whereas what we try to do with our clients, even on more complex implementations, is really simplify the system. Think big, start small. That's really what we focus on. And that's why Zendesk is really good that way. So if you look at like a lead, if you're not sure what a lead is an unqualified prospect. So if you're creating a list of people you want to call on, you might create that list and then you would import that list right inside of Zendesk's leads here. And the idea is to work down the list and convert them into a potential opportunity. And that's where they would end up as a contact. So it's kind of a bit of a flow that kind of works through the flow of things on there. So a contact, let's just go and actually create a contact in the system. You can just do that from the top right here. And we'll call it Jim Smith. And all these fields, you can customize these fields. You can add new fields, different information you want to capture. You can update the drop downs and all that kind of thing too. The idea is you want to capture as much information as you need on the contact and what's relevant to what you're doing. So we're just going to click save. And we're going to bring that into a contact page. So this contact page is a brand new contact. So there's not a lot of information here, but you can see on the left, we can, what's the status? So the customer, past customer, again, labels and all that can be adjusted. Lots of neat features in here. I can just kind of make comments on here that this is a quick update. And I can also tag people within the organization too. So I could tag someone on there to say, have you followed up with this person? And that way you can kind of create a bit of a thread. It's almost like a little activity feed based on this contact specifically. And if you set up integrations too, you can do all of your email directly through here as well. I haven't set up an email for this particular user, but The idea is put everything in the CRM, let the person work inside of the system, and then they never really have to leave. I'm not going to touch on this today, but I will give a bit of a preview for when I come back to talking about Zendesk in the next couple of weeks. Is we also have a Monday.com integration too. So you'll see on the right-hand side, there's a Monday.com integration. You can actually integrate the two, and we do have a lot of use cases where people are starting to do that more and more. Is they might not use Monday.com as a CRM. They might really like Zendesk for that piece, but then they might use the integration with Monday.com to create more collaboration with people that don't need the CRM, so your operational people, and then they would be able to go right into Monday.com. But me as a person that I'm working on fundraising activities, I can give visibility into what's going on the back end as well. So if there's some kind of service that I'm delivering as part of my organization, maybe I can track that information here and link that back into the Monday.com board. So a couple touch points on here before I move into the Monday.com side. And I do see a question here. I'll get to that in 2 seconds here. There's along the top here, there's a calendar view. Deals is where you would track the actual opportunities you're working on. So if it's an ongoing relationship you have with someone that every year they're doing a fundraise, and you always expect Jim Smith to be donating something every year, you might create an opportunity there to help you forecast out what is the donations looking like, say for 2021. And a lot of that can also be done through reporting. In Zendesk, it has a lot of comprehensive reporting. So you can set it up based on your funnel. You can set it up based on any criteria that you have. So there's a lot of different reporting on here, what stage they're at. Like when we onboard people into any CRM systems, what's your sales process or your fundraising process or whatever particular activities you're doing, and you're gradually understanding where people kind of fall throughout the system. So the reporting in Zendesk is quite exceptional as well. So I'm just gonna have a quick peek on Q&A. Why Monday.com but not Asana? I actually know we used to, at Eligio, and I'll get into Monday.com, you'll see in a second. Asana and Monday.com are very similar as far as task management tools. Monday.com is accelerated more to becoming more of a platform. So we can actually build on top of Monday.com apps. So just like you see an integration on the right-hand side here for Zendesk, we can do a lot more on the Monday.com. So this is a great pivot into what this piece is here. Is I can customize a lot more inside of Monday.com essentially. It's much more developer friendly. So although it's not part of the talk today, but you can see one of our more popular tools in the marketplace from Monday.com is a quoting tool. So I don't know if it's working. Let's have a quick look here. Maybe we do have a version in here to take a peek at. So we can add it in here. Let's see if it works. If not, there you go. So this is an example of someone that might be quoting something. So they can actually have a task, which is essentially, these are what these are here, much like Asana. But on Monday.com, we can build very custom stuff like this e-quotes template and actually create pricing schedules and whatnot. If this was a sales organization, for instance, it's not just limited to creating this. We're building a lot of custom stuff for people too that we wouldn't be able to do in Asana like this. So I don't know if that answers a specific question, but feel free if there's something more specific, I can try to address it. But we used to use Asana before moving to Monday about 3 years ago. And we've brought people over from Asana in the recent years to Monday.com. And most of the time it's, I'll admit, it's usually a price thing. But once they get into the system, they start realizing, wow, there's a lot we can do with Monday.com that we couldn't do with Asana, because it's not just task management anymore, it's a lot more. Okay, so let's talk about Monday.com as we're in here. So a little bit different. Monday.com is highly flexible and highly customizable. So even if I go back here, you can see this board. It's a little bit boring. But if we come back here, this is a board that I created called Donor and Donation Database. And this is where I can actually create, who's doing recurring monthly, who's one-time donors, who are corporate donors. So as I said, it's a lot cleaner. It's a lot more user-friendly. And people seem to gravitate to this more and more now. And clicking on any of these rows brings up information on the right-hand side. So you can kind of see here, Laura's planning to donate $100. So again, just like in Zendesk, we have a communication channel going on. I might go on here and again, ping someone. I'm going to ping Gary at our team here. I'm just going to tell him it's a test. And I can start a communication thread in there too. So, and as you saw with eQuotes, you can add views in there. So there's a lot of different apps you can install into Monday that will allow you to enhance what the views look like on the right-hand side, depending what you're doing. So let's say it was a payment widget, a credit card processing widget. Those are all things that are possible inside of Monday.com. Now, it's not even just having boards and things like that too. You can do boards and structure things the way you want. So maybe this board is like too simple. You might go into something where you're creating a contact list. So a contact list of who are my new contacts. A great example is you probably have a form on your website that people can fill out for more information. That could automatically fill out that form, add the item into this new contacts group. And then as you work down the list and you start creating relationships with people, you start adding them to this existing contact list. Then you can also filter down stuff too. So I can click on filters here. I can start saying, I just want to see people that have an occupation of office manager, and then it filters it down. Or I can just turn off the filter and do something else. So there's lots of functionality and flexibility you can do with the system. You can also do views. So I could create a Kanban view. So I can move people around if I want. If I want to create another view, it's not even on there. Maybe I want to do a calendar based on when people typically do their donations. I could do that in here too, or a timeline. There's lots of different ways you can kind of configure Monday.com that way. And we'll get deeper into this in future sessions. Now you can see here, well, it's, Leilani here under donations. This is where I actually track the donations that Leilani has made here. So I can see under the donations board, which over on the left-hand side, you can see there's donations here. I can actually see that Leilani's made a donation. So I could actually click on that and open up and see, that there's $500 on, for February 28th, or sorry, that was the last contact, but it's $500 donation on here. So if you had a date on here, you can relate that back to a date. Or it's like, well, I just got a commitment from her to do another donation. So we might go on here and say donation number 2, and I can add it in there. And then I can click on here and give it some more information. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Donation number 2, add. And then I can click on here to open the item, and then I can put in some information, say 1,000, and any other information you want to fill out. And then you just close that. And now you can see there's +1 on there. You can see there's more donations on there. So it's a different style of database. So you can start capturing more information in here too. And donations is just literally, donations. There's the example when I put on there. All these tables, boards that you can see, they're all a little bit unique. You can customize them quite easily. If there's a piece of information I'm missing, you can go in here and add different columns. So if I need a date column in there, I can just go, a donation close date. And you can add that in there too. So there's lots of flexibility in there. And for those with larger organizations, the flexibility is, there's also permission settings and things you can control a lot of behaviors and whatnot too. So you can control, people just don't go start creating columns all day. We don't want to create the whole Excel nightmares over the last couple decades where there's an Excel document that someone's opening up and editing stuff, but someone else goes to look at it, makes a copy and all that. So there are things to control that a little bit too. So that's a very high level on Monday.com. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pivot over to the last showcases under SugarCRM. This one's a lot more stripped down. I just kind of gutted everything out. This is a dashboard, has to do more customer service, but it kind of gives you an idea what a dashboard could look like inside of a CRM system. So this is based on case management for help doing a support desk. But you have dashes like task management, planned activities. This is a lot more sophisticated in terms of a CRM system because it can do a lot more, and we can also customize a lot more too. So a contact, say like Vernon here, we can go look at Vernon. This is a contact record that has information that, again, is all customized. So I can put as many fields as I want on here. I can customize it to however I want the system to be. It has integrations to a lot of different plugins, such as Hint. So you can see Hint is down here. we can actually punch in the name of a person and have their LinkedIn information, social media information, and any other information that's publicly available automatically imported into the system. So there's some neat little tools that you can build inside of here. And right now I only have the one module opened up. I've just hidden most of them. But essentially I can go in and do all kinds of things, even have like a knowledge base on here, how to do different things. So if you want to put different policies and procedures for your organization inside of the CRM, you can locate them inside of a knowledge base. So there's some flexibility around that. The reporting side allows you to create a lot of different reports based on different activities, whether it's based on task management or based on different fundraising goals and whatnot too. So there's a lot of neat things you can do on the Sugar side that you can't necessarily do with you say Monday.com or whatnot. So SugarCRM is going to be probably the deepest dive I'm going to do. We have modules created out for different fundraising. I'm actually going to see if I can quickly log in to AFDF, see if I remember the password. I do, perfect. So like in this example, like I might have donations. So these are just opportunities. The nice thing with Sugar is we can actually tailor this system so it uses your lingo, your language. We can do that with Monday to a certain extent, but with Sugar, we can literally go in and start calling stuff donations, donation amounts, creating custom fields, and all of that information you wouldn't be able to do with another system. So quite highly flexible that way. Okay. Perfect. So I'm just gonna, with a couple minutes left, I'm just gonna pop up our last screen here. And just bear with me. So that's really, I mean, 30 minutes. It's a very quick overview. I just want to make sure that people kind of get, there goes my lights again, gets a sense of what is available in these three different products here. And it's very high level, but stay tuned over the next couple of days. Make sure to visit our website, legit.com. We'll email everyone on the call today about the upcoming sessions. They'll be every Tuesday, same time. And we're going to go deep dive into these systems and see how the different use cases work. And when we do reach out, feel free to email us back. Say, hey, I'd love to see how you could do, you know, X, Y, Z in the system. I'm more than happy to put together more of a tailored demo. Again, we've had experience with it, but everyone has a little bit different, a different angle with it. Every not-for-profit we deal with today, not one is the same. They all use the CRM differently, and most of the times to address organizational challenges and how they actually build process in the system versus, you know, how do we sell more or get more fundraising. That's not really what they're focused on. It's more how can they operationalize things a lot better. So we'll do that over the coming weeks. So in the meantime, if you do want a one-on-one consult, we can set that up with someone on our team. Our website's legit.com. And otherwise, if there's not any other questions, we'll probably wrap up here. I'll give it a minute or so. Just a question, what's the schedule like for the demos? We're going to be doing every week for the next 3 weeks, the different systems. So next week, I think we're doing Zendesk next week or Monday.com. It'll be in the email. Then the week after, we'll do another one, and we'll do another one after. But the whole half an hour will be dedicated towards that particular system. Okay, perfect. All right, and I see the comment there, Medea. We'll reach out afterwards, and we'll connect with you, and we can certainly dive in more for you. Thank you so much for spending, you know, the last half an hour with me. I really do appreciate it. Hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon.